Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. The show is the Court of Public Opinion, and we broadcast on a Tuesday and a Wednesday. It's posted on Facebook, and of course, Andy Martin sends it off around the ether as a podcast. He just takes the audio and puts that around as a podcast. And thank you very much for viewing, or for watching, or for listening, or for being involved or interested. We're very grateful. Peter Clayton is behind the camera. I'm Jeremy Cordeaux. Pete was just telling me a couple of seconds before we rolled tape. What did you say, that the Japanese?
Yes, I was on the television last night.
I didn't see that.
No, we pay 35% higher price for our own beef than what the Japanese do.
So we pay more,
35% higher price for our beef than what the Japanese pay for it.
How could that possibly be?
Well, we are being screwed. As I was saying, I bought a Rode microphone, which are made in Australia.
They are. It's a great brand. In fact, around the dining room table,
Yes.
all of that equipment is.
I bought a Rode microphone from America.
Yes.
Cheaper than what I could buy it here in the country that it's made.
But that's not possible.
It is possible because the retailers are having a lend of us. And it's right across the board. White goods, it doesn't matter what it is.
This is disgraceful.
Yeah.
Absolutely disgraceful. And I don't know, we need a government and an opposition, hopefully on the same train, to fix this sort of thing. Because that shouldn't be. You know, we'll move on to another story, and that won't change the fact that that's an absolute obscenity. It should be fixed. That can't be so. Can't be allowed to remain so. We have to be incredibly careful about the people we elect to send to Canberra, because they're either going to look after our interests and the interests of this country and its future, or they're not. And in many areas, I won't say every area, but in many areas they are simply not paying attention, or they're absent without leave, looking the other way. I have no idea. But you can count on one thing: self-interest. Self-interest, they will always be interested in themselves. For example, $450 million have been allocated for the purchase of 2 new VIP jets for the Prime Minister. Why do we need to spend that money? Why does the Prime Minister need 2 new VIP jets? Well, there he was at the time this announcement was made, returning from an affordable living discussion on the weekend. Discussion about the difficulties of living an affordable life. Had no problem dining on lobster at a posh restaurant without any sign of embarrassment. Whitlam was a socialist law unto himself. He didn't give a stuff. We were just plebeians. It didn't much matter what we thought. Well, he was a law unto himself, but this guy is just impossible. You would imagine that somebody would take him to one side and say, "This is not a good look, sir. You don't go into this place and order the most expensive dish on the menu. On the very weekend that they're talking about you having splurged $450 million on 2 new VIP aeroplanes. But we do know he loves to travel, and in style. The cities that boast the world's most affluent people have been named. What do you think they are, Pete?
No idea, I'm afraid. No. No idea.
The cities in which they boast the world's most affluent people. And 4 Australian capitals have made the cut. Adelaide's not one of them. But Adelaide has long been famous for what one might call quiet money. You know, Sydney and a lot of different parts of Melbourne and Perth, of course, and Brisbane are in your face. If you got it, flaunt it. It's show it. Is sort of the mantra. But yeah, you're right. Sydney, Melbourne, Perth and Brisbane are the Australian cities that boast the most affluent people. I wonder if they're the happiest people. I think happy would trump affluent, wouldn't it? Baby powder. Now, baby powder. It's not one of those great big headlines that's going to shatter the world, I know, but baby powder has been around for as long as I have been. Well, it's been around longer than I've been, truthfully. 20 years ago, I first started to do stories on the fact that it was carcinogenic. Here, I'm talking about baby powder. They said 20 years ago that it caused ovarian cancer. A particularly bad idea to use Johnson's, well, baby powder and Johnson's come to mind, don't they? Kind of synonymous. But clearly, warnings were sounded all those years ago. Blow me down if the same story doesn't appear last week. As I was kind of struggling there with my COVID whatnot, I thought to myself, how could that be? That story was well and truly talked about, ventilated. In fact, I think there were various lawsuits, court cases and things initiated. Is it that the journalists are too young and don't remember, or they don't go and Google, or they don't research? But there it was, large as life, starting a whole new go, as if it was a brand new story. I find it amazing. Labor Senator Fatima Payman. I don't know very much about Fatima Payman, but she has just billed the taxpayer a whopping $179,357 in just 3 months. That's April to June 2023. $179,000 worth of perks on top of her $217,060 salary. Well, I mean, if I ran the show, it'd be very different. Clearly, she's not breaking the law. If there is an inquiry about her expenditure, well, maybe questions will be asked and answers will be sought. But the truth of the matter is, these people can, within the law, have the time of their lives at our expense. Why? Just because it's within some parameters does not make it all right. No. We have to have people in Canberra who understand they cannot chalk things up to the public and get away with it. Even if the law says they can. Let's change the law, ladies and gentlemen. You get $217,060 as a salary, and then you get $179,000 on top of that in just expenses. Disgraceful. We need to go through that carefully, line by line, and stop it. Speaking of money, I don't know, Pete, did you get any joy out of the $150 million lottery last week? No, I didn't either. Well, one winner in South Australia, and makes that person, I think, the only person to have won in his own right, or her own right, the biggest lottery prize. Bang. What would you do with it? $150 million. Anyway, it gives us all a little bit of fantasy, a little bit of escapism while we think about what life could be like, what might have been, what could have been, that never was never meant to be. That's a song, Pete.
Yes, and I'm just trying to think.
Who did that? What could have been...
Was it Kathy Mattea?
It could have been. Yeah, it could have been. But a lovely song, I remember it. What could have been that never was never meant to be. The federal government has already banked the $14 billion saving from a more carefully administered NDIS. Yet none of the states can agree, again, on the whole thing about the NDIS. Again, I say to you, watch what they do, not what they say. The big problem is going to be what people will be given through the NDIS, which is now totally financially out of control. But the big problem will be what they're given will be what they want, not what is prescribed. In other words, no authority, no overview, no controls, a continuing recipe for financial disaster. And I hear nothing from the opposition. I hear nothing from the media. It's quite unbelievable, really. Age verification, if you wish to view adult content or social media. Now, there's nothing like this most places in the world. Age verification. Nothing like it in the UK, Canada, most states in America. What's it about? It's about control. Control. You see, I personally never saw too much wrong with Bob Hawke's Australia card, but many people did. It didn't get up. Well, what this Labor government is planning is a massive intrusion into people's private lives. Far, far more so than Bob Hawke's Australia card. What do you think? Would you like to talk to me on Friday around the dining room table about that? JeremyCordeau.com. Just tune in to JeremyCordeau.com. It's an online radio station. You see, what they will do, they will present all of this as a way to keep our kids safe. And who wouldn't agree with that? We all would agree with that. But I firmly believe that they couldn't give a damn. It's about the control. That's what they want. Then there is this misinformation and disinformation bill that they're preparing to put before the House. My question is, who is going to sit in judgment on what is mis or disinformation? My guess is that it's going to be anything that embarrasses the government. You see, they've got the media in their pocket. The media are compliant. The media won't ask any embarrassing questions or, shirt front anybody. No way. The only thing that's getting in the way is social media and some comments that you might find here or you might find around the dining room table on a Friday morning. Anyway, they want to shut up anyone who disagrees or is likely to say or ask an embarrassing question. Bob Hawke would be proud of you lot. Absolutely. State fees and charges all going up by about the inflation rate. Well, that's not a good look, fellas. On one hand, you don't have to do that. You don't have to put the excise up on petrol and cigarettes and booze. You don't have to do that. But you give lip service to cost of living, big issue. You can do a lot about it, but you choose not to. As I say, not a good look. But have a think about changing the law and letting us claim the inflation rate as a tax deduction. Oh, that would be fun. That would be fun. Speaking of money, you know the stop-go sign holders? Some people call them lollipop holders. You swing the thing around, it's stop, you swing it around, it's go. Stop-go sign holders on union building sites are now earning over $200,000 a year. John Setka, head of the CFMEU, and you can't say that he's not doing a fantastic job for his members, and that's his job. His job is to look after his members. He's looking after his members. The schmucks who are running the building sites are not quite as smart as John Setka. The extension, what do they call themselves, Pete? Extinction Rebellion?
Yeah.
Extinction Rebellion people at it again at peak hour in our cities around Australia, if not the world. I would love to know, I'd love to get some intelligence on really what they're up to and who's driving them and who's briefing them. Do these people know that they're being manipulated? They must. Who are they? What's their real mission? It's got nothing to do with the issues that they pretend, like climate change or free Palestine, whatever it happens to be. Big announcement the other day, South Australian schools are going back to basics. Whoa! But don't get excited, we won't get there till 2027 apparently. I wonder why it takes so long to go back to what we were doing before. Anyway, we won't get there till 2027. But the real question is, why did we move away from the basics in the first place? And you know what? There is never an apology. Gee, whoops, we got that wrong, didn't we? Look, sorry about that. We'll fix that up. Nope, they just blunder on and the media lets them do it. Extraordinary stuff. Now what I've got to do, just quickly, before I say goodbye, pick up my glasses because I dropped them. Wish you a happy birthday, happy wedding anniversary. Hope you have a lovely what's left of the week and that you will join us on Friday around the dining room table. May the 29th. Where is Edmund Hillary? Oh, I don't know if I can get that. No. Can I get it? Maybe I can. Come over here, Sir Edmund. Come on. Yes. There we are. Sir Edmund Hillary. Lovely picture of Sir Edmund. Autographed and everything. He was just a wonderful guest. We had him on the show several times over the years. Fabulous man. Fabulous man. Sir Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay, the first to reach the summit of Mount Everest as part of a British expedition on this day. It was May the 29th. The year was 1953, and he dedicated his conquest of Everest to the new young Queen Elizabeth, who promptly knighted him. Damn right. 1849, on this day, Abraham Lincoln says, memorably, you can fool some of the people all of the time, and all of the people some of the time. But you can't fool all of the people all of the time. Yes. Bing Crosby records what turned out to be the biggest selling song in recording history. Irving Berlin's White Christmas. The John Scott Trotter Orchestra and the Ken Darby Singers. They recorded it in just 18 minutes, basically one take. Becomes the world's best-selling single. Estimated at having sold 100 million copies. The year was 1942. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. American pharmacist John Pemberton begins to advertise his patent medicine. It was called Coca-Cola. In Atlanta, Georgia, 1886. A lot of cocaine or coca leaves in that. Bob Hope, the English-American actor, comedian, entertainer, born in London. He died in 2003. A very frequent guest on my radio show, or my radio shows over the years. I can't count the number of times I spoke to Bob Hope. Bob Hope was a wonderful guest. He was born 1903. Charles Strite files a patent for the first automatic pop-up toaster. Wow. 1919. Constantinople, capital of Eastern Roman Empire, falls to the Turks. It ends the Byzantine Empire. 1453 was the year. This was the day. Even old Istanbul was once... No, what was the song? Do you remember the song?
Yes.
No, even old New York was once New Amsterdam. It was Constantinople, no, not Istanbul, not Constantinople, Istanbul, not Constant.
Vaguely, I remember.
Hey, you're probably not old enough.
No, I do remember.
Okay. John Walker, English inventor and chemist who invented the friction match. Born in Stockton-on-Tees. He died in 1859, born this day in 1781. Michael Jackson attempts to buy the remains of the Elephant Man. I don't know why. 1987 was the year. John F. Kennedy, 35th President of the United States, 61 to 63, and Senator, Democrat Senator of Massachusetts. He was born in Brookline, Massachusetts, on this day in 1917. Happy birthday, Mr. President. Josephine, wife of Napoleon, Napoleon I, first Empress of France, 1804 to 1814, dies of pneumonia. She was 50. I always had in my mind that she was much younger than that. Anyway, 1814 was the year. Annette Bening, American actress. Grifters, Bugsy, American beauty, born in Topeka, Kansas, married to Warren Beatty. Born in 1958. Dennis Hopper. Dennis Hopper, who was the son of Hedda Hopper, who wrote all those gossip, scandal things. Hedda Hopper, American actor and director, True Grit, Blue Velvet, Easy Rider, dies at 74. 2010 was the year. The Space Shuttle Discovery completes the first docking with the International Space Station. It was on this day in 1999, and Gavin MacLeod, American actor, The Mary Tyler Moore Show, Love Boat, Captain Stubbing, McHale's Navy. He dies at 90 on this day in 2021. Thank you very much for being with us, ladies and gentlemen, in the Court of Public Opinion. I look forward to your company on Friday around the dining room table. Peter and I will be back next week. I'm Jeremy Cordeaux. Believe in yourself, and thank you for viewing the Court of Public Opinion.